Tuesday,
Happy Tuesday.
and welcome to everybody for our Tuesday edition of Monday Meals. We were closed yesterday for I don't even call it a holiday. We were just closed yesterday, so I hope everybody enjoyed their 3 day weekend.
Yeah, I think it's hard these days to celebrate holidays with so much going on, but welcome everyone and looking forward to all the good conversation to be had.
Yeah, yeah. So we are back. We are back in the office, returned from a 3 day weekend. A lot of us were able to rest and spend time with family. Um, the Bay Area, Oakland, San Francisco. We had the hosted the NBA All Star Weekend, which was a positive experience for many people. Shout out to all of the small businesses and entrepreneurs. Hopefully, people were able to celebrate and make some coins for themselves. Uh, and for the economy. But wonderful, beautiful weekend, um, filled with a lot of positivity, something that we need right now. Um, so it was really great seeing Oakland and San Francisco on a national spotlight and being talked about in a positive way, instead of the doom loop narratives.
That part. I think also it was so exciting is just being able to see such a variety of like events, and my son was able to go to the HBCU event at the Coliseum, and I was just amazing. He's really into drumming, and so he got to see the drum majors, and just being able to have that level of joy, particularly here in Black History Month. Although we know that Black History Month is just 1 month, but we celebrate Black History 365 days all year. But it was nice. And yeah, I'm sure you got out and saw some amazing things this weekend too.
Yeah, I was outside and participated in some of the festivities, and um, I stayed on this side of the bridge, though I didn't cross uh, to go over to San Francisco. But there was plenty of things to do here, in Oakland, and like you said, just celebrating Black joy and seeing a lot of people at the HBCU event, and just the positive energy that was there, and also just more proof that we need continued events like this that's uplifting for a community, especially here in Oakland and parts of East Oakland, and just the need of hopefully in the future, the Bay Area having our own HBCU, carrying that culture, and having those vibes. And it's just really beautiful as well, to see the continued love, and support that Oakland gets from certain players like Steph Curry and numerous others that intentionally held events in Oakland and at the Oakland Arena, and just spreading that love. The Oracle, or the Roracle, as many of us fans like to call it, is it's a unique place, and the energy is unmatched, and you'll never get that at Chase or anywhere else. Not a diss to Chase, but there's no energy like the energy of the Oakland Coliseum.
That's hella real. And it's so fun to like see not just this last weekend, but also that like there's just been a number of amazing events that have come through the Coliseum and Oracle, that have allowed us to be able to have joy in such uncertain times. and at the same time be able to just celebrate what is Oakland, right? In the town and how we get down, because like you said, there's no other thing. I think my other highlight is like, seeing folks host watch parties here in the town. Lots of our small businesses and entrepreneurs really need us coming out. And we talked about this in the beginning of the year, but it was really heartening for me. I was like debating if I was going to go out, and I was on Eventbrite trying to check it out and see like what's going on outside. I'm like, but it was just so many options, and very peaceful, very much so joyful. 3-day weekend, folks got to rest, and then we did have lots of folks demonstrate yesterday as well, and really center the resistance that is going down with all these massive changes that are happening across our country, particularly with our federal government. And so, it's like the Bay, in a one weekend, if there was ever a weekend to demonstrate like the town and the Bay's contribution, this was the weekend. It's like we can have fun, we can do HBCU, we can do the NBA All-Star, and we can protest all in one weekend.
Right, right, and we can have celebrate Lunar New Year because you had the Lunar New Year parade, that was going down. It was a lot of things happening, and to your point, that's one of the things that I love about Oakland, particularly, is that we gonna party, but we gonna protest as well.
That
We might protest on our way to the party, right? And you know while we're talking about it, the one of my themes for 2025 is joy, and we have been able, I think, as a people here in the Bay, really know how to still center joy during, during some difficult times, right? Which we are facing at the moment. And keeping the spirit of that going, we have Black Joy Parade that's coming up this weekend. We're going to get into discussing about that, shortly. But during these times that we are in, right, on a national, and local level, we're seeing daily things change and new executive orders, being put into place on uh, multiple times a day, right? A lot of our rights and protections, are being threatened right now. Um, we are seeing, massive cuts on a both federal, and local level, and yet we are still here, right? We are still trying to find ways to be enjoyed, and a lot of that is through community. But even bringing people together right now is at risk with a lot of the budget cuts that we're seeing for arts and culture, and even with OUSD right now.
Yeah, it is a very rare, unique moment across the board for our communities, and appreciate you mentioning OUSD because there's a lot, and I know folks have been like, "What's going on again?" But I do want to like acknowledge that we've seen this Dodge and what is it, Department of Government Efficiency, whatever the heck they're calling it, really throw so many folks locally, federally, our federal workers, our people. There are aunties, there are uncles, there are, you know, um, amazing contributors to our society as well. And at the same time, there's just a lot of uncertainty. And I think the uncertainty comes because it's just not following the rules of the way we expect the government to function. And part of the reason that Oakland Rising exists is to call those kinds of things out when especially they impact working class workers and families and immigrants and formerly incarcerated. And I first just want to acknowledge that there may be many folks who are watching this who are dealing with a family member who is being impacted in some way or another and our hearts and our minds are centered in just lifting you up with as much joy as we can, to really acknowledge that like things are rough, right? So just want to start with that, right? And then I think also like it's like trying to make sense of it all, right? Yes, it's a barrage of news reports, but also the human impact, and seeing um, folks really losing faith in democracy. And part of my hope for us is that we don't lose faith in democracy, that we remember that as progressive, leaning folks, as folks who believe in economic justice and racial justice and environmental justice, that we see this as a moment for us to really put our love for justice into action. And that we see this as a moment to really understand policy, because at the end of the day, these are policies that people are putting out or taking down. These are individuals and resources that flow to our communities in ways that help us. No one should be scared of whether our government is going to continue funding SNAP benefits. No one should be scared if their Medi-Cal is not going to be here tomorrow. No one should be scared that a contract they already have with our government is not going to be honored. The dismantling that is being attempted by this Dodge and the mega folks is concerning. And I don't want to say that folks shouldn't monitor stuff, but also really take care of your health, your mental health, your emotional health. Find ways to find community that you can lean into with that analysis and make sense of it. And if you are directly impacted, it is our hope at Oakland Rising to provide resources so folks can connect in with whatever we can generate, because the moment is here, right? And what the fuck? Excuse my language. Probably shouldn't say that on Monday Meals, but I mean, I said this the other day. I'm like, I feel like we on a Groundhog Day yet again within Oakland, because here we are again, got city revenue not being where it needs to be, budget cuts happening mid-year, left and right. And now the OUSD school district is talking about they got a deficit again. And now, there's just been a lot of cray cray happening over there. And so I'm just like, good gosh, is there any year ahead where we gonna get it right? Because it feels very much so like no matter how much effort is being put, that there is just a intention to ensure Oakland cannot move progressive work forward or progressive agenda forward. And enough is enough. This is causing more pain to working class communities than anywhere else in the country at this juncture.
Mhm.
Um, to have our city budget not be stable, to now hear our school district budget is not stable, and to see residents, parents, community members being the ones to push our electeds to be courageous in the midst of all this. It's just like it's the Oakland way, but I'm like, can we get to a place where it can be done with more joy and more respect for the fact that we are a city where people are depending on our local government, our local school district to get it right and to not mess with people's lives. I can't believe we're here again.
We are here again, and as someone who is a lifelong Oakland resident and a product of OUSD, this has been a problem and an ongoing issue my entire life.
Right.
Um, and one of the reasons why I decided to take myself out of OUSD in high school. 'Cause I was like, I deserve better. And our kids deserve
Mm,
better. Our community, deserves better. But this is also a part of the much broader attempt for that the right is using for the public to lose faith in progressive leadership on a local and national level.
yes.
Um, California is being attacked from all ends, from all sides. I mean, and people should be concerned, um, especially around the security of food and housing. And so those are really important. And now is the time, now more than ever, to, lean on the organizations. Oakland Rising is the only one that's, out here providing resources. But we have a lot of, we have some strong collaborative partners who are doing the work and providing resources and making sure that communities can stay safe and informed and educated about their rights, whether it's housing rights, immigration, um, job security, and numerous other things. But now's the time to get involved as much as possible, to find ways of where you can get the support. Or provide that support, that's needed. And like you said, it's chaos at this, during these times. But what are some of the things that you are personally doing, to try to find joy
Mm.
in doing this work, in this moment,
Mm-hmm. It's
as a mother, as a leader, as a community organizer?
um that's a really good question. I think for me, there's two lenses at all times of like, as a mom, I just make sure we have good food, access to good food. Um, and I've, struggled for those that don't know, I need to get off the DoorDash. It's too convenient. It's just too convenient. And I'm transparent so I could be held accountable. So if you see me, you have full permission to ask, did I delete that DoorDash app and have I stayed off of it? Because baby, it's like a remnant of COVID, the shelter in place and all of that. But also, I think like the reason why I center food is because we are here in Black History Month, and one of the beautiful things that I grew up always experiencing, and shout out to my Nunu, was just good food bringing joy, and I was craving some greens. I was craving. Look, you nod your head because everybody know when you get that craving for some greens and some cornbread, you got to get your greens and your cornbread. And so, I did do find myself these days making things that I grew up, you know, enjoying every week because my grandmother and my nunu, she cooked it all the time. And so it's a way that I can teach my kids some of our heritage. It's a way to keep them connected and accountable to the fact that, like, they have to nourish their body because we know there's things coming to us left, right. I always say this is a 360 moment of like feeling like we're under attack, sometimes all in all directions. Um, and so like, teaching my son how to fry some chicken is a big rites of passage to me. He's 9 and that's an important rite of passage.
Mhm.
But I also, so that's what I do with the family. I think for myself, I really am knowing that this moment is not unique in the sense of like it hasn't happened anywhere in the world. I'm really intentionally building my political education around what other countries, other resistance movements have done to address when their government is being attempted to be dismantled in the way that our government is being attacked by conservatives, ultra right conservatives. And I find myself very much so in a moment of where it's a frontier. Like I've never really studied those types of things in the past. It's not typical for me to wake up and be like, "Ooh, let me find out what country gone through these things." But I am knowing that, and I'm centered in that we as a people across this world have dealt with these types of dynamics before. And so I am really centered in making sure that I'm making that space to remind myself that we are powerful people. Black people are powerful. Latino folks are powerful. API community is powerful. Indian community is powerful. Our Yemeni community is powerful. Our formerly incarcerated community is powerful. Our immigrants are powerful. And we are powerful because we don't give up on each other. We don't
Right.
give up on the idea of justice. It's built into our DNA. Our ancestors have made it possible for us to always rest assured that we will fight for justice. And so my lens of care is like to center in that and to remind myself of that at all times. So that's my self care. I know that might not sound like self care, but it really is because the larger context matters. But I'm curious, what are you doing to center joy in your life? Uh,
um, Doing things, being really intentional about the people that I surround myself with, um, being around people who are positive, um, that's supportive. I think we all need to get real about what our support systems look like right now. Um, and just continuing to do things that, that bring me joy. Uh, Again, this weekend was really uplifting. I actually haven't been out like that in a while. And so just being around beautiful folks, you know, making sure that I stay nourished, taking care of ourselves, um, treating myself to a spa day, you know,
that's
going to go work out.
good.
Yeah.
I need soon.
Yeah. We find time for everything else, but we have to at least find some time to add some additional joy and longevity,
Mm,
to our lives, because I don't see any of this slowing down anytime soon.
yes,
And yes,
that's
yes, we cannot pour from an empty cup. So, however, we can keep ourselves, full. And so, I'm really looking forward to this weekend for Black Joy Weekend. Shout out to the amazing organizers of people that have been putting this together. I believe for the last 8 years, and I love it because I'm able to see many people that I know. One of the things that I do like about Black Joy is the amount of Black people who attend that no longer live in Oakland. Um, the people who've been pushed out, that look forward to this particular event every year because they know that they're going to see people that they went to high school with, right? Or folks that you've known for years. So it's the bringing together of community, and also just showing Oakland's uh, resilience. Um, Although we are faced with many issues, right now, and corporate media has, worked overtime the last 2 years to tell everybody how unsafe it is to be here, and uh, how Oakland isn't the place to be, but we continue to prove them wrong, right? Like we did this weekend, with All Star, and we'll continue to prove them wrong again this weekend with Black Joy and many other events. Um, and so I'm excited that this will be Oakland Rising's first time, joining. Definitely want to extend an invite to the entire community. If you are down with us and want to come and participate and march in our contingent, um, please reach out. You can send us a DM, or you can email our volunteer coordinator, Stevie at oaklandrising.org.
yeah. I'm looking forward to this weekend too. I think that with everything going on and folks concerned and the real impact of the city budget cuts and what's happening in OUSD, it's a really good time for us to be able to have some joy. I marched many years ago, but it was really amazing to do. And we had a little small contingent, but small and mighty. I had my pom poms, and I was getting it. I had my red hat. I was really out there. I might have been more pumped than anybody else in the contingent, but I do think it's um, it's really important for folks to know that like it is a Black Joy parade and a day to just center a population in Oakland that like folks have really just underestimated and intentionally pushed out, right? I think that we talk about gentrification in a way that it has an impact across all people of color. But I want to be real. Like when I first moved to Oakland, Oakland was chocolate. And I love that about Oakland because it allowed me, someone who grew up in San Francisco, to land somewhere that felt like when I grew up in San Francisco. San Francisco went through the same things, if not worse, of having the Black population pushed out, and Oakland subsequently went through the same thing too. And so I do see our abilities to bring Black folks who call Oakland home. I call it home. I've lived here 22 years of my life now. I know I was born and raised San Francisco, but I feel like there should be the grand debate about when you actually get to claim Oakland. How many years, how many decades do you have to have under your belt before you can claim it? I feel like after 10 you might be able to do that, but I'm just saying. um, I remember when I came to Oakland, you couldn't even wear a Niners shirt officially in Oakland. It was like beef. It was like straight beef if you did that. You'd be
Yep.
like, yeah, that's right. But it's such a beautiful town. It's where I have really raised my children, all three of my children, and have felt really compelled to like invest in Oakland, to advocate for improvements here in Oakland, not just in our schools, but in our city. And like it pains me that we have to have 1 or 2 days a year where we can say, hey, we down for the town, or it's the Black Joy Parade, or if it's what used to be Art and Culture Festival, and
Right. Or
more of the
or what used to be festival at the lake.
I was
Taking
gonna say, and
it
more of those past events that were at our Carnival,
back.
was
Mm-hmm.
fun.
Cardigan.
Yeah, Kari Jamba. Yeah, thank you. I was saying Carnival. Yeah, Kari. Oh man. I remember the first one I went to in 2004. I was like, woo! It was beautiful. And I think like the sad part about our city budget is that those are the very things that are being slashed. Those are the very pieces of our culture that are not being able to be invested in, or not continue to have support from the community at a rate that can afford the permits and all these things. And I also remember the Afro, oh man, what was it called? It was always Labor Day weekend. Afro Family Fest. Was that
Yes.
what it called? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Missed that event too. And so I do think about all these really strong Black led uh, BIPOC events that used to exist in Oakland. And the Black Joy Parade gives people an opportunity. It's one of the last ones left that we can really hold and claim. And so I hope folks come out because not only do folks like, need these events, but we also need more of them, as you said, right? Um, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
excited. Also, get my clothes on in the marketplace because ain't nothing quality out here until you get to the marketplaces at these big events anyway. So
Yes. And I'm looking forward to supporting some of our local vendors. People have some really dope quality goods. And yes, Leon, the Malcolm X Festival is still alive and kicking.
yeah,
It's still, it still exists. And something the question has to be asked: when it comes to cuts, it's always the first is always to be on the chopping board is education,
Mm,
arts and culture,
mm,
and numerous other, but arts and culture and education are always, the first on the chopping block. And people might think that arts and culture is just, festivals and music. It's much bigger than that. It's supporting our artist community that pours in a lot to the city. It's supporting our local economy, but it's also, bringing a sense of morale to the city and uplifting not just one community, but 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 multiple communities. So make sure you get out there and support not only Black Joy, but numerous other events. It's also Black Solidarity Week. Shout out to uh, CRC for doing that, and they're doing multiple activations throughout Oakland and providing resources and spreading joy as well. We have the Life is Living Festival that is later on this year, another wonderful event that uplifts community and also spreading awareness about our environment, which is important too, right? If we want to be outside, we got to make sure that um, our community has the infrastructure for us to be outside, and also that we are being responsible while being outside, and that means cleaning our areas and making sure that we support businesses that are not polluting our communities as well.
yeah. And I think you make a good point around not only supporting things, but also paying attention to, like, this is why we want everyone to understand the city budget and school district budget, because when it comes time to really advocate around these things that we cherish, it's really being in those rooms with our elected officials, with our advocates, saying, as a resident, you support the continuation of these services, the continuation of these programs, the continuation of this funding. And so, though we don't all, watch every city council and every school board directors meeting, it is a really important year for us to be on the ball of looking at what our elected officials are making decisions around. Like, at the end of the day, people fail to counteract the narrative that Oakland was unsafe. And we are all paying for the consequences of allowing the narrative that it's completely unsafe. I know people have had experiences and we've talked about this, but we all have to face the facts and the reality that most of us don't go out to restaurants. Most of us hear about our favorite joints shutting down and then we go for that last taste, but don't realize there's an economic impact to this all when we don't support each other and when we don't our bring ourselves out to our town and support our small businesses, support our entrepreneurs. And that is directly connected to why we have such a low level of revenue in our city, because we're not generating our dollars, we're putting our dollars into these big corporations. And then these big corporations are using their resources politically to advance their agenda, to advance their way of paying less taxes, and we need taxes in order to pay for these revenue, these amazing, joyful events that we cherish and care about. But not everybody pays their fair share. And we learned this in the city budget last year. We're learning it again this year. That there's still many businesses that have not paid their business tax here in Oakland. We've learned that there are many folks who have property taxes that they have not paid as well. And I know that feels weird to say, like, pay your taxes, and I'm all for Robin Hood moments, but we also have to remember that taxes are revenues that help us provide services, and we have to be critical about those. And then I do want to just say before we wrap up, I think we need to do a whole Monday Meals on the school district. There is just so much happening in the school district right now. And I think that, what folks do need to understand is that, there are people who do not want local control of the school district to maintain. It is devastating to see and hear that because folks said that they did not want to move forward with school closures as the first and only option to address the reported 95 million in deficit, which we've seen that number multiple years now. I feel like if someone out there can go back every December for the last 10 years and put together a video of every board meeting in December, you will find every board meeting in December, it's all of a sudden there's a deficit. I wish somebody would do that for us because I fundamentally have watched this district since 2013 make up numbers. And then, yeah, we can go back 20 years, even before the first state takeover, the second state takeover, whatever. But I just want us to be really clear that you can make numbers look anyway. And the reality is that there has to be a deep dive into how spending in the school district is occurring, in the same way there needs to be a deep dive into how spending is occurring in the city budget. We are not going to get out of the bad habits that have become insider contracting and insider just rolling over the same budgets year to year without questioning if those are the contracts, if those are the resource flows that we should be maintaining. And that means hard conversations in Oakland have to be had. That means that folks are going to have to come to the table. We need to work across our labor unions. We need to work across our community organizations and our city government and our school district and come up with a economic revitalizing plan for Oakland. It's not about, separating the school district and the city government as if they are on some separate tracks. They're highly interrelated to each other, and we need elected officials to hold themselves accountable to creating a courageous and bold agenda that does look at all of Oakland and what all of Oakland needs. We know it's very easy. Let's just state the facts to prioritize the voices of the hills over the flatlands. And it is our work at Oakland Rising to make sure that that does not happen, that we need everyone who watches this Monday Meals and folks that you don't even know to really get serious about how we're going to protect the flatlands moving forward, because we pay when the budgets don't come out balanced. We pay every single time. And I would like 2025, 2026 to be the years where the flatlands truly say, don't just come asking us to show up in your pretty pictures and represent the town and create good culture for the town and make Oakland one of the most popping cities in little hip hop culture and urban culture around the world. Put your money in our communities, address the issues in our communities that need to be addressed, and keep our schools open so our kids have a fighting chance to actually become the best that they have the potential to become. Like, it's time to put the bull aside, and it's time for all electeds to get very bold and very centered. And your job is to protect our communities and to work with us for the solutions, not just make decisions on behalf of us. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. I'm good. It's 2025. I'm not playing with folks. Like, we got to do something different. We can't go another decade or two with the same old yes.
No, we really can't. And like I said, as somebody who's been a product, of OUSD, it has been nothing, but extreme failure. But what we also need to recognize that when certain cities, because again, I've said this numerous times, Oakland is a test city.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
when you are the stages of dismantling a city, they usually attack our schools first. And so that's been something that predates even, the housing crisis that we had, but they're both connected, right? Um, And so we need to, like you said, have these hard conversations, honest conversations about our schools, um, because our city won't be able to win if we aren't prioritizing and keeping our public schools funded, and teachers employed. Is going to be, some of the same. And yes, holding people's feet to the fire, who are in these positions of power, and doing better, not just on a local level, but we've been under state conservatorship for years too.
That's,
And so there's some people who need to be called out, at that level as well. And in wrapping up, just wanting to go back to something you said earlier about all of our responsibility, um, when we're representing, Oakland, right? Um, we have to do better. And this is something that you and I have said numerous times. But what I would like for everybody to do, the challenge this weekend, right, is post at least one positive thing about Oakland that brings you joy. That's the assignment. Post at least one positive thing about Oakland that brings you joy, because we need to counter these narratives. People are actually making careers off of the destruction of Oakland and a negative image, of Oakland. And so, as a part of what we're giving you all, this week, people who support Oakland Rising, love Oakland Rising, of course, come march with us, but tag us. Post something that brings you joy in Oakland, tag Oakland Rising, and we'll share it in our story.
yes, I'm so excited to see what folks tag us on. Also, just shout out to all the folks who will be marching. I know Black Organizing Project is going to be marching. I know Courage, Communities United for Restorative Youth Justice is going to be marching. And I'm sure there's many others that are going to be marching. So I can't wait to see how beautiful we all look going down Broadway, looking amazing. And looking forward to seeing all the entrepreneurs who are preparing the most amazing food for us, the most amazing clothing for us. There's probably going to even be some amazing shoes out there, because I know my fellas, you got to have your unique whatever. Tennies, sandals. I done seen so many things, your caps, your hats, your this. So I can't wait to see it all. I hope the weather is decent for us this weekend. And also pay attention. We're going to be posting, hopefully soon, when these city council and these school board meetings are happening, so folks know what they need to know in order to get engaged.
Yeah,
That's
stay
it.
engaged, stay informed. We got plenty of info coming your way over these next few weeks. Well, Pecolia, thank you for joining me today.
Welcome, and look forward to bringing some more folks in. Like I said, I think we should do a whole session on city council, whole session on the school board, whole session on all the things that folks are deciding. So can't wait to see us make it happen.
Yeah, yeah, can't wait to make it happen. It's due, and also, folks, feel free to send us, some suggestions on topics that you might want us to discuss over the next, few months. Like we said, we have um, the city and state budget, county budgets. Everything that's going on, with OUSD, and in an important special election that's coming up. But what else is important? What else would you like for us to discuss, or guests that could possibly bring on? So keep that in mind, and we'll see you this weekend, and we'll see you next Monday for our regularly scheduled Monday meals.
That's
Peace out.
right. Peace.